Hi everyone, let's talk about Merv, which I just did a full solo playthrough for. If you're wondering where all of the stuff is and you want to know what the game's like, that's your best bet. This is just my ramblings and what I think about it. So I think Merv is a brilliantly clever game. Its central mechanism of choosing these actions from a grid that we have set up at the start of the game, so potentially other people are going to get in your way, of course, but there can be a lot of planning and looking at these paths through these actions, because basically there's a grid in the middle, there's a square with all of these different actions, and each round we are going to pick a column and then a row and then a column and then a row, and you're going to pick a building, hopefully building up more and more in that row, because the more buildings you have in a row when it's activated, you'll get more resources, as well as getting the action of the actual building that you picked and getting to put an extra one down, which is more points. But as the game goes on, it can shift from, rather than just wanting to get as many buildings down as possible, you can potentially just get in somebody else's row first that they've started building up and just choose their building. You're not going to get an extra one down, but if they've got, say, 3 buildings in that row already, you will get the resources. Same as if you picked your own buildings, they will get a bit of something. They will get the resource from the building you actually chose the action of, but you will kind of get in ahead of them, prevent them from building up more and more of the same colour and getting potentially the whole row of it. There's some nice tightening in the two-player game where we kind of alternate the decision making for this dummy player, that one of us will choose the row that he goes in, the other one will choose the building. So, you can't, you're filling it up, you're blocking off spaces, but there's a nice interplay still between the two players to kind of keep it tight in there. And the solo game is a nice kind of representation of that as well, that the bot is simulating the second player, and then we're playing those two-player rules with the dummy player as well, just blocking off more and more spaces. So while there's a lot going on, kind of branching off all of this, the main thing for me is that action mechanism, that it's I will say in advance that stuttering through the whole thing, I'm terrible so far in terms of solo anyway, trying to beat that bot. I'm not great at this game, so trying to come up with all of these strategies in advance and stuff and actually recognizing what is valuable, I'm not really the best at. So yeah, not going to really get into all of that stuff, but yeah, it's a really nice kind of, there's nice connectivity between the actions. In the palace is kind of the hub, giving you points based on how many caravan cards you've got or how far you've gone up the mosque. A lot of the actions revolve around you having particular combinations of colours, like there'll be particular ones for the mosque, but you can go up as many rows as you like as long as you've got those resources. The caravan wants you to have the same resource a load of times. The library wants you to spend a load of different resources, up to 4, to get more of these scrolls that will trigger these breakthroughs that give you bonuses. And depending on your path through these things, you're not going to do all of it. And the AI bot is a good representation of that as well, that the bot is basically going to pick 4 things and just do those 4 things repeatedly. Of course, getting to break rules and bend them and stuff and get advantages that an actual player wouldn't have. But it's kind of representative of what you want to do in the game as well, that you can try and do everything, but like in a lot of great Euros, that you can try and do everything, but you probably won't get very far. If you focus on a few of those things and try and do those things really, really well, that's where the real points lie. And yeah, the kind of connectedness between going up the favour track, that it all rewards you with points, but it unlocks more and more things. You need that favour to keep spending it if you've put meeples in the palace that will activate the scoring every round. And then the influence track unlocks getting different spice cards. You can only have one type at the start of the game, but moving up that spice track lets you unlock more and more types, and the set collection is what scores you points. Getting 2 of a certain kind will unlock a little bonus, but it's getting the full sets is where the points are, and it'll unlock these higher and higher level contracts as well. That of course the bot can just cheat and get all of those in advance, just doesn't need to go up these tracks, and getting to the end of one pushes you up the other, so it's a nice little flow from that. I'll say that it's kind of early days, and see the coming up December video, it'll probably be up by now, so you can watch that as to my personal situation for the month anyway, and I'm rushing through some things, but yeah, I feel at this stage, after playing it like 4 times now, I've played it, that I kind of still feel a little bit lost, and that the game seems like it's a bit beyond me. I'm sure that going off, people's preferences and maybe Board Game Geek weight ratings and all of those things, I'm sure I have got to grips with heavier games and things before with less of a problem. But yeah, something about maybe just trying to see through the matrix into this grid of actions and see a path through it, I find quite difficult, and how that kind of relates to the palace and stuff. And if that's a representation of the game just being too heavy, or just the way my brain's wired, not quite clicking with it at the moment. But I do want to keep trying with it at this stage. So this is kind of, I don't know, I am kind of in awe of it more than I am effusively having fun with it. But yeah, it's one of those where we'll see where it goes. The playthrough is there though, and that should give you a much more definitive answer of what you might think of it. Although, yeah, as much as actually playing it yourself, it's kind of secondary to that, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to go now before more rambling happens. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you for the next game. Bye, everyone.